But now we're moving into Q&As, and I see there's a bunch of questions. I'm gonna go ahead and choose one of them. So we have someone who asked, what are some indicators that your health is adversely impacting your spirituality or faith? In other words, how do you know if your health is impacting your faith?
It's really good. I think it's probably twofold, and that's a fantastic question, by the way. The first thing you probably should think about too is your food can actually be an idol. It can actually be something you do worship on, and in two ways. It could be that you're always seeking comfort. So when you need comfort, you go to food, right? So if I have a success at work, I celebrate with a meal. If I have a failure at work, I lament with a meal, right? Every high is with a meal. Every low is with a meal. And that's a great sign that you are, instead of bringing your highs and lows to Jesus, you bring them to the dinner table or the breakfast table. And that's a great sign. Now, God wants us to celebrate with meals. Like, he loves when you celebrate with meals. And food is a comforting mechanism. It's not like a sin to do that. It's a sin to always do it. It's a sign that we are accidentally maybe putting something before God. Now, the other way you might be straying is that you become, like I mentioned, this sort of vain individual who your whole life revolves around what you eat and what you think and the way you look and the way you're perceived. And a friend of mine, a pastor who recently passed away, he said this. He said, you have to pay careful attention to the amount of time you're spending creating and sustaining your own image. And that's a powerful thing as it relates to food. So you have to be careful that you accidentally aren't falling off either side of the ship as it relates to food.
Yeah, that's super helpful.
That's so good.
That was a question from Daniel.
All
Good question, Daniel. Tell me what
sounded like a pastor question.
All right, so our next question, I think this is a great one as well.
From Kimothy.
From Kimothy, yes. So clean eating is marketed as the diet of the affluent. In some ways it is. How does the church support and encourage those with limited income who believe clean eating isn't accessible to them to consider a God-honoring nutrition lifestyle?
Yeah, that's a great question. And as from someone who grew up poor on Section 8 housing, someone who grew up on the mac and cheese, top ramen, and baked beans diet and hamburger helper, that's me. So I totally understand this question, and I sympathize with people that, man, I just feel like I can't afford to eat. I will say this. I do believe it's a bit of a myth that eating healthy is an expensive endeavor. Now, it's expensive to go to Whole Foods or Whole Paycheck and pay for $20 celery. I totally understand that. Yeah. But you've been taught through marketing and through all of these sort of companies out there that the only way I can eat and survive is by going to McDonald's and getting a meal for $5.99. That's not true. So you can eat other things for cheaper. It just might not have the addictive properties in the MSG. By the way, MSG has 16 shelf names, so you'll never find it if you're looking for it in your food. So yes, MSG, for those of you who don't know, MSG is a monosodium gluconate or gluconate, something like that. It's a property that's used in a lot of food to get you to be addicted to the food. And it has 16 shelf names. And so marketers hide it under different names that the FDA approved. So that way you don't know it's in there, so that they can tell you that, oh, the only way you're going to be healthy is to eat this really good food. And then you go to McDonald's and you're like, wow, these fries are delicious. I don't understand why. Well, they're manipulating you with a chemical, okay, to get you to eat them. So what you can do is you can educate people that don't understand that, hey, sweet potatoes, rice, and chicken is very affordable. Yes. Vegetables from farmers markets. If you really want to drive to Half Moon Bay or go even further south to Gilroy's farmers market instead of going to some of the Silicon Valley ones because they're a little overpriced, that's totally, that's what I do. You can go outside of, don't go to San Francisco by the Ferry Building and go to the farmers market, go to the one off Alamany, okay? Get cheap, you can go to farmers markets and you can put a collection of food together that is actually affordable. So it begins with educating people that you can eat healthy, but it won't be addictive, but it will fill you up and it will be healthy.
We got to do an Eden farmers market trip. You guys will meet Eddie in real life. Farmers market.
Right. Yeah, let's do it.
Oh yeah. All right, so here's another one. This is a fun one
Important question of the night.
from Daniel. How much can you bench?
Right now or ever?
Both, right now and ever.
Serena says probably 100 ESV study Bibles.
Those are heavy. I don't know if I can do 50. I don't know if I can do 100. If you really want to know, I don't know how much I bench right now because we're in quarantine. So we're kind of in a quarantine or whatever we're in. I don't know. But my max is 435 at one point. So it's a lot. But right now, I don't know. I have a garage dumbbells inside. I have no idea. But more than you, Dan, whatever.
You know, Daniel's really competitive. So maybe there's going to be a bench press.
430, that's 4 plates and then some, right? And some change.
Yeah, well, you're going to see Dan way bigger next time you guys see him in person now. He's going to be lifting.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. So here's another one from Elena. I've heard that fruit are high in sugar. If I decided to cut out sugars, does that include eating less fruit?
Great question. Who was the person that asked that question? What was their name?
Elena.
You met her.
Elena.
You were
Elena. Oh, that's right. Elena. Great question. Fantastic question. Fruit is sneaky, okay? Because in your food pyramid you got in elementary school, they gave you this food pyramid and then they put fruits and vegetables together. And so we're under this assumption that spinach somehow is the same as grapes and pineapple, because they say 4 to 6 servings of fruit and vegetables a day. Okay, you cannot eat 6 servings of grapes, which have 16 grams of sugar per serving, and consider them the same as eating broccoli or spinach or something like that. Yeah. Okay, it's not the same. Certain fruits are incredibly high in sugar. Now, some of them do have fiber, but the interesting thing about sugar, or about the sugar from fruit, is it's not sucrose, it's something called fructose. And fructose metabolizes in the liver directly and can cause things like fatty liver and spikes your blood insulin very fast. So that means you should, if you are trying to cut sugar, eliminate most fruit. And if you are going to have fruit, go for lower sugar fruits like berries, like strawberries, and blueberries, blackberries, and raspberries, things like that. So that's my advice for you. I think that's a great idea. Go for berries and definitely cut as much fruit as you possibly can out. But if you are going to have some fruit every now and then, you'll be okay. But if you really want to go next level, you can just have it around your workouts. But don't sit on the couch with a bowl of grapes and think you're eating a healthy meal. It's really good, and I like grapes too. I'm a huge fan. Like, I'm totally a huge fan, Sophie. But it's not necessarily the best thing for you.
One day at a time, right? But that's
right.
Great. Yeah, I do think fruit seems like it's super healthy, but it is a lot of sugar.
Mm-hmm. It is. Oh, yeah. Well, and just think about like how people acted or harvested food when Jesus was around, right? Yeah. So like thinking about cashews, for instance, like right now we can go to Costco and get like a tub of cashews like that. And I could just put it on my desk and just eat cashews while I watch, whatever shows on TV, right? Titan games or whatever. Or yeah, I'm just watching that. And I could eat 500 cashews. Well, when Jesus was around, if they wanted cashews, they either had to buy them from a merchant who had giant nuts, and you would crack the nut and eat them individually, or you would have to get them yourself, which is very difficult and it required physical effort, which we don't in our sedentary lifestyles in front of computers and TVs and iPads and laptops don't do. So we have to be careful with fruit. The way we get fruit, we just get a giant bowl delivered to us. We didn't harvest it. We didn't pick the berries. It's just a big old thing of them, and we just eat them. So that might not be the way God intended us to eat them.
Gotcha. Yeah, even with like Jamba Juice, right? We go to Jamba Juice, we get, these smoothies, like, oh, this is so healthy. I got my fruit smoothie. Well, like you're saying, all of these fruits have a lot of sugar and we don't realize it.
Yeah. Tommy gets on me all that. He's like, acai bowls are not like this super healthy thing for you. He's like, you're eating for sugar.
Well, people feel, it's a change from the Pop-Tarts and, the stuff people were eating in the 90s. And so they're like, this is slightly better. But yeah, there's a lot of marketing that goes involved, and understand that like we're just like at your companies, like we're all trying to sell something, right? We're all trying to get something sold, and those companies want you to buy, and they will do whatever it takes. And that's why Coca-Cola puts little calorie numbers on their sodas and says, this fits within a healthy diet. And the truth is, no, Coca-Cola under no circumstances fits within a healthy diet. because there's 50 grams of sugar in one can. And, and then in the diet versions have other problems like sucralose or aspartame or Splenda and those things. So you have to be very careful that people are not always looking out for your best interest, and you have to kind of do you, and you have to own your own story, own your own health.
Oh yeah, that's so good.
So next question.
Yeah, so our next question, I think this is a great question because I feel like I'm guilty of this. But what are your tips for eating healthy while traveling?
Oh yeah, so this is a great question because it's so difficult to eat out of an airport. It's very hard. Although SFO is coming along, I don't know how San Jose is doing. They're coming along. They've got a little area. This may be, I don't know if it's gonna be controversial. The last part might be controversial, but I'll say this to start. I would never personally eat anything out of the airport unless it was an emergency. And the reason why is because a lot of the things in the airport are hidden with oils, and it's anything out of like a Hudson News has got definitely junk oils all over it, anything like that. Every now and then you can get Epic bars with grass-fed meat or lamb or chicken, and you can get that and get the ones with low sugar, and that's a really good option. And so go for those, and then drink water. And if there's restaurants there that serve salads, get salads, and avoid the dressing because you don't know what's in it. And usually they're packed with sugar. Yeah. And usually they're packed with tons of, even if you don't taste a lot of sugar, Thousand Island dressing is almost got 28 grams of sugar in a serving, and you're squirted all over your salad, and then you ruined it. Yeah. So avoid the dressing, eat some meat. And then if I was you, I'd bring nuts with you. And the most extreme option is to fast. Mm-hmm. Don't eat. Mm-hmm. And actually you'll find if you skip a few meals while you're traveling, you'll actually feel a lot better in the airport, and you'll think a little bit clearer. And it cleans your cells. This is next level, but it's something called autophagy, and your body will actually clean your cells, and you'll start to feel a lot better. So don't eat junk if you can help it. Bring your snacks with you, BYOS, and avoid the Mickey D's or the Carl's Jr.
Yeah, and you'll save money. You'll save money.
And bring your own water bottle, by the way. Don't pay $9 for a plastic water bottle. Oh my goodness.
Preach.
Yeah, so true. Man, I'm so guilty. Okay. On to the next question. Asked by Joe. What are some tips, or what are the best tips for a vegan lifestyle?
Yeah, great question. And there are lots of vegans out there. And if you're a vegan, praise you, good for you. I don't know why you're a vegan. I would never want to do that, but if you've got your reasons, cool. There's a lot of vegans in San Francisco. I would say you're going to need to find some sources of vitamin. Okay, let's start here. In order for vegans to feel full, oftentimes they have to load up on carbohydrates because they don't get a lot of protein sources. And so you eat lots of rice, lots of grains, things like that. And the issue with that is that too many grains and too much rice, especially if it's industrial grain, has those bad oils and causes inflammation. And so you're going to be chronically inflamed. You might have joint pain after a while. If you've ever been a strict vegan, you know a lot of vegans have a lot of joint pain. If they don't eat any animal products, especially they can't get any omega-3s, that's an issue. That can be an issue. You're also going to be deficient in a few things. You're going to be deficient in B12. So you'll probably, if you want to be a vegan, you either have to eat some sort of meat to get that, or eat some sort of animal liver to get it, or you're going to have to take synthetic B12s. You can do synthetic B12 spray. I think Joel Kahn does that, the vegan guy, the doctor. And you're going to be probably mostly deficient in vitamin D, and there's some vegetables you can get some of it from, but you probably won't get enough. Or you'll be deficient in vitamin K2. And so those are the vitamins you're going to probably have to supplement with. What you shouldn't do as a vegan is eat grilled cheese sandwiches, eat vegan grilled cheese sandwiches, or eat fries from, McDonald's, or, just junk food like Lay's potato chips or whatever, and go, yeah, I'm a vegan now. And I eat, I know my friend of mine's vegetarian, and they eat pizza without cheese on it, or they eat pizza with cheese because they allow themselves cheese, but they won't eat the meat. And I'm like, you eat pizza 4 times a week. That doesn't necessarily healthier for you. Yeah. So if you're going to be a vegan, do it the right way, and limit your fruit consumption, because too high of sugar is also common. And you're going to have to find some different protein sources And typically beans cause a lot of digestive issues. And so make sure you soak your beans first.
Yeah.
If you're vegan, you probably care about what you're eating. So I'm giving you vegan tips. Okay. Soak your beans before you cook them because they sprout and your body will be able to digest them. Is that too much for you guys? I feel like that's next level.
This is great. We have some vegans that are watching, and
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, this is good stuff. No, this is great.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a few minutes left, 2 or 3 minutes. I think we could probably do maybe 1 or 2 more questions.
Yeah.
So guys, make sure you guys are thumbs upping the Q&A section with the questions that you guys want answered.
Yep.
We're gonna go to the next one that's asked by Gino. If we ever resume our normal social lives, what are your thoughts on dealing, it moves around. What are your thoughts on dealing with social situations involving unhealthy food? For example, someone invites you into their home for a meal and serves unhealthy food that you are trying to avoid, or a friend picks a favorite unhealthy restaurant for the group.
Great question. I deal with this all of the time. People think I'm weird sometimes. Anyone at my church knows. I have a few thoughts and a few tips because this is something that's gonna come up. If someone, this is the principles I live by. I guess you'll have to think about what you decide you want to do, but this is what I would do if I was in your shoes. What I would do is if my friends, people that I know and care about, are picking restaurants, then I'm going to tell them, hey, listen, I'm trying to eat healthier. Okay. I need your help in this. I don't want to go to the ramen spot again. I love the ramen spot. I will have to eat it. Can we please try another restaurant? And ask them kindly if there's no way to avoid that. If it's around your friends, then I would order as best you can with the diets we've given you, which means you're going to be the person eating a salad at the pizza place, and you're that guy.
That's okay.
But you know what I would say to that? I would say that don't be normal, because normal in America is sick and sad and brain fogged and chronic fatigue and has chronic illness. That's normal in America. Be weird. Be the weird person who decides, I want to be healthy. Yeah. And then influence people around you as they do it and say, hey man, and then what I always do is I always invite my friends over to cook, and I cook for them. And I say, this is what I eat. This is the meat. And they taste the meat and they taste the freshness of the vegetables. And they go, man, this is amazing. I was like, yeah, it's way better than, In-N-Out burger. Right? It's better. I mean, it doesn't taste better in the car, but it's better here, right? And so they just give them a little bit of that. What I would do if in the Bible it says, eat what's set before you. I think if an unbeliever person that I love and I want to influence and I care for and makes me a meal, I'm going to do my best to eat as little. I'm going to eat a portion of that food, and I'm going to say thank you, and I'm going to taste it, and I'm going to enjoy it, because I want to obey what Christ says, and that's to eat what's set before you. And then I also place the value, the ethic of obeying Jesus and influencing people with God's mission over even the stewardship of my body. So I would say, if someone's a non-believer, they're your friend, and you want to influence them, eat the food, you'll live. God will forgive you. He won't forgive you because he'll be siding.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, that's so good. And I love that you said be weird. And it reminds me of some scripture, like Romans 12:2, do not conform to the patterns of this world. And that's so good. That's gonna end our Q&A. Thank you for answering those questions, Eddie.